Instead of asking why me, a new question popped up in my head. And this question is, what must I do next? A lot of success stories are born out of failure simply because of that, but one does not need to fail to succeed. Sure, I've seen people who make their first $1 million. They're happy for the first year, maybe the second year. If they go on making $1 million for the next 10 years, every year make $1 million for 10 years, guess what? This guy also is unhappy. In my journey, I also was obsessed with discovering what the formula for success is. Acknowledging the fact, like giving ourselves a tap on our own shoulders and acknowledging the fact that, hey, I set out to do this and I have achieved it. Job well done. Almost all of them who are successful and feel successful are the people who also give back. You don't need to be successful to feel successful. When you feel successful, you will be successful.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
that's an awesome statement right there.
We talk about school, and we know for a fact in school no one teaches us about entrepreneurship. People often feel that, hey, you know what, the first 20 years of my life was a waste of time because I learned the stuff that I'm not using in life. Success is not a destination. Success is a journey.
Hey, what's up? It's Caleb Wong here.
And it's David Ng. Welcome to the second episode of Let's Learn, where we interview and learn from people all around the world that is already winning in life,
so that young people like yourself get to win in your life as well.
Now, our guest for today is Jit Puru, the author of You Deserve Happiness and also the founder of Ideas and Inspiration. This person, I'm able to relate a lot, and I'm pretty sure you too, because he was lost before and now he became a person where we would be looking forward to become.
And from the interview session with Jit Puru, we also learned from him the formula to success, and he also shared his experience as when he was younger and fell into the depression and also lost mode. I'm sure that you can relate, and how he managed to find his own path. And there's one key habit that he stressed for every one of us, especially young people like yourself, to practice. So without further ado, let's get straight to the interview.
Welcome Jit Puru to Let's Learn. Right, but before we get into our topic that we're going to discuss today about what inspires success, on behalf of our young audience who may not know you yet, how about you share with us your superhero origin story? Like, how did you get started and how did you become who you are today?
Hey, first and foremost, guys, thank you all for having me, for inviting me, and for giving me the honor to be on your show itself. You know, asking me for a superhero origin story. Well, the reality is, it's not that special of a story to where I am now and where I was before. Like a lot of people, I've had my ups and downs in life as well. There was a point of time, you know, when things seemed to be going according to plan, and then came a point where I had to discover myself or rediscover myself to regain perspectives and thoughts. So that was what happened to me a few years ago, and that was what that put me on my path to doing what I do now. So I'm a full-time professional speaker. So I speak at conferences and conventions all over the world. I speak on topics such as adapting to change, leadership development topics, motivational topics. And when I'm not speaking, I'm often running masterclasses or even sometimes one-to-one coaching sessions. And I also write books. So I've got a few books out now. The first book is this one here, You Deserve Happiness. So this was out in 2016. And I'm in the midst of writing another book now. So yeah, that's just a little bit about myself.
And what was the transition point of your story? Like say you went through hard times and now you are where you are right now, which is very inspiring. So what was the transition like? What was the thing that happened that a lot of people want to know? What's the they're probably waiting for that opportunity of lifetime or that mentor of the lifetime. Though, did you have one?
Yeah. Well, okay. The reality is, this is what happened. Right. So the bulk of my career was actually, I was a flight attendant with Singapore Airlines, and I was a flight attendant for about 7.5 years. So my whole 20s was with Singapore Airlines, and life was good until today. I often tell people, hey, you know what? Being a flight attendant is one of those jobs, right, where it just allows you to see the things that you don't normally see, experience the things that you don't normally experience at a very young age. And I liked every minute of it. Problem was that at the age of 30, I felt like I wanted more. And I think we've all had this little voice in our head that says that, hey, you know what, I think we are meant for more, we want to have more. So life got a little bit stagnant for me. And that's when I made the difficult decision that, hey, I wanna leave this comforts that I'm enjoying with the airlines, and I want to step out in pursuit of something more. So it's a good goal to have. I always encourage people to pursue more because it's growth. But the first lesson here is this: always discover what more means before you step out of that comfort zone that you have. So this is what's happened to me. I wanted more, but I didn't know what more was. And because of that, I kind of underestimated how challenging the world really is. Because when you're flying, right, life is comfortable. You fly to, you get there. The moment you step out of the aircraft, work ends, wherever you are, New York, Paris, Johannesburg, you step out of the aircraft, work ends. Work only starts when you step back into the aircraft again. So for me, I underestimated how tough the real world was. In my mind at that time was that, hey, I'm qualified. I have a degree. How difficult can it be to find a job?
That's right.
So what I realized was that my degree was in engineering.
Okay.
So my formal education is in engineering. 8 years I was in the service industry and hospitality industry. So my experience and my qualifications did not match. So what happened was that when I tried getting or applying for work back in the engineering field, I was outdated. And that's what they told me. They say, hey, you've been out of touch. You've been out of the industry for about 8 over years, So you're kind of like a dinosaur in the world of technology. You've not been in touch with it for about 8 years. And I totally understood that. So I figured, hey, since my experience is in hospitality and service, why don't I try applying for service-related jobs? And true enough, because of the name that Singapore Airlines has, work was coming in quite easy. But the problem was that now organizations didn't want to pay me the kind of pay I was looking for because I did not have any qualification in service. So it was a little bit of a fix that I was in. So about a year plus into trying to find my calling, what I realized was this: at the age of 31, I had no clue of where I wanted to be. Absolutely no clue. Career-wise, no clue at all. Financially, it was getting really bad because if I'm being really honest, it was getting into negative territory, which wasn't really good. And just when I thought life could not get worse, okay, because that was my voice to the universe. Life sucks. Life cannot get worse. Show me how life can get worse than this.
Understood.
And I was telling the universe. And here's lesson number 2: never challenge the universe. Okay? Because the reality is this: you will get what you ask for, good or bad.
Yeah.
That point of time, I was all out. Life sucks. Life can't get worse than this. So the universe decided to show me that, hey, life can get just a little bit worse than what it is right now. So in the midst of all that uncertainty and financial difficulties that I was facing, what happened was that a 10-year relationship that I was in also came crashing down. So it was a 10-year relationship, and just in an instant, I had to go through a separation and a divorce. And at the age of 32, that was a little bit too much for me to handle. And I was just constantly asking this question: why me? And I think we've all asked that question as well before. Why me? Why do bad things happen to me? Why do bad things happen to good people? And I started asking. I said, hey, why me? And what I realized was this. And this could be lesson number 3. Why me never answers any questions. Okay, because why me only directs the attention to the experience at hand. And if it's a negative experience, what is going to trigger is more negative emotions. So why me never answers any questions. Right? So I was in that circle, why me, why me, why me? Why me coupled with a negative state of mind can lead you down a very slippery slope. Because my next question started becoming, what is the purpose of life? And not in a positive way. Right? So this was when I realized, I said, hey, something needs to change. I need answers, but I don't have the answers. I need clarity in life again. I need perspective in life again, but I don't have the answers.
Yep.
So fortunately, there were still people in my life who cared, who had the courage to step up to me and tell me, hey, seek help, because this isn't you. You know, you need to get out there, you need to attend some seminars, you need to read some books, you need to talk to a coach, find someone and get some help. And I figured, hey, you know what, this makes sense. So this was when something clicked within me. Instead of asking why me, a new question popped up in my head. And this question is, what must I do next? You know, the reality is this, when we ask the right questions, we also can put ourselves on that path to discovering answers. So when I asked what must I do next, what I realized was this, I no longer focused on the experience, I was now focused on finding a solution.
That's right.
Right? So what I realized was this, hey, you know what, I need to get help, but I don't know where. So I started Googling, like most of us would do, you know. So I picked up my computer and I started Googling personal development seminar, self-help seminar, and a name kept popping out. And this name was Tony Robbins, you know.
I see.
So Tony Robbins popped up, and what I realized was that, you know, I've heard of him before, I've seen some of his videos before, and he has this program called Unleash the Power Within.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was like, hey, you know what? Millions of people have been transformed, and I think this is the program for me. I want to attend this program. So I got all excited, you know, and I really wanted to take part in this. And then when I started scrolling down, I realized that it cost a lot of money. You know, it costs about $1,000, and the closest place where Tony Robbins used to run it before, I mean, now we're very fortunate, he comes to Singapore quite often.
Yeah.
You know, as the closest is Sydney.
Yeah.
Right? And $1,000 just to attend the seminar, that's excluding the flight ticket, the accommodation, and food. And when you can barely afford like a chicken rice, you know, for a seminar, you know, it's a big deal. And I know a lot of success gurus and self-help will always say, you know what, make that commitment, beg, borrow, or steal. Invest and the money will come looking back to you. Well, the problem was this, when you don't have money, it's really hard to you know, get into more debt by beg, borrow, and steal. You know, and that's not something that I wanted. Right? But hey, just as I was asking again, why me? Remember that new question? That new question popped up, and I told myself, okay, what must I do next?
Yeah.
Right? What must I do next? And the thought that came to my mind was this, hey, if I can't go to Tony Robbins, why don't I bring Tony Robbins to me? And that was when I did something that I don't normally do. I walked into a bookstore, I still remember it was Kinokuniya,
I see.
and I completely walked past. I mean, I walked past the comic book section, and I because that's where you'll normally find me. And
I see.
You know, and I went straight to this magical aisle called the self-help aisle. You know, and I started picking up some books, because the reality is I could not afford $1,000 for a seminar, but I could still invest $20 in a book. You know, and books are affordable.
Yep.
They are still a lot of knowledge.
Yep.
I picked up a few books. Obviously, one of the books was Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. And, you know, I picked up a few other books as well. And this was really my start into my journey of personal development and self-help. And that led to the career that I was in. Because the more I started reading, the new ideas I received, perspectives, thoughts were changing. And there's always this saying that says, when you change on the inside, the world on the outside changes with you.
Yep.
That's right.
And that was me, right? So as I received more ideas, my perspective started changing, my outlook of life started changing, and I started feeling that sense of motivation again. And of course, when you acquire knowledge, you've got to take action with that knowledge. And the more I took action, the better life got for me. Life was started changing bit by bit. And that's when I realized, hey, this is what I want to do for a living. You know, life changed for me in a matter of 1 to 2 years. And I now want to be the medium that shares the knowledge that I've acquired with other people who may be in a similar spot as me. So that was really my journey. So when I first started off, of course, I was doing a lot of coaching, but I realized I had no clue about business. I've never ran a business before, and maybe I didn't know how to run a coaching business at that time, and I thought it was not sustainable. So that's when I moved on into training, and I was doing a lot of corporate training workshops. And to 2016, because I always had a goal that one day I would write a book. For the simple reason, because a book changed my life, or not a books changed my life. And I always told myself that, hey, I want to write a book one day, to again put everything that I have acquired in the form of a book to change other people's life. So in 2015, that was when I made the decision to write a book. I sat down for about a year. It took me to get this book out. So it's a nice 200-page book. And 2016 June, I published it. And ever since then, I'm speaking more. So I run lesser workshops these days, and I speak more. So 45-minute, 60-minute keynote talks at conference, conventions, and a lot of the things that I speak on is adapted from the content of my book itself. So that's just, So if you were to ask me again, what was the changing point for me? I suppose it was when I started asking the right questions. A lot of people feel that, hey, what, was it the negative experience? Was it the hardship? Was it failing? Because there's another thing that success gurus always say, hey, you know what? If you want to succeed, you must first fail. The reality is you don't have to fail. But the thing is, a lot of success stories are born out of failure, because sometimes when you're pushed to that corner, when it's either do or die, the survival instinct kicks in, and then you do. But before you get pushed to that corner, that do is always, it's a zone where, maybe I'll do it later. Or maybe there's a better way. Maybe there's an easier way. So there's always thought that, of procrastination or doing it another day. But when you're back to that corner, when it's do or die, survival instinct kicks in, and now it's just do. Right? So the reality is this. A lot of success stories are born out of failure simply because of that, but one does not need to fail to succeed, because one can learn from other people's failures. One can learn from other people's journey, and it's kind of like this. If I were to tell you, hey, go from point A to point B, but if you're going from point A to point B, don't use route A, use route B, because route A, big pothole there. If you go on route A, you will fall in the pothole. So if you go to route B, you will avoid it. So right now, you didn't have to fall in that pothole. You now knew from other people's experience to avoid this way and use another way. So that is the beauty of knowledge. You get to learn from other people's experience. So when people ask me, hey, was it the whole drama or the saga that I went through that put me on my life here today, I would say it played a part. But what really put me here today was asking the right questions, because we also know of a lot of people who go through hardship but do nothing about it. They live in that pain, and they live and they just justify or give reasons to why they are there, but they do nothing to get out of it, because the question in the mind is not changed yet. So if you ask, the turning point was asking the right question.
It is very interesting when you actually mention on how the alignment between success and failure, where a lot of people they thought that in order to be successful, failure is actually not the opposition but a part of it. So if that in that point of view, right, how do you actually define success in your own terms?
So if you were to look up the definition of success, right? So if you pick up dictionary, if you go to Google, right, if you were to look up the definition of success, success simply means the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. That's all success means. Meaning, if you aim to achieve something, or like I said, if you set a goal, that becomes your aim. The moment you achieve that goal or you achieve that aim, that is defined by success. So of course, for some people, success means a lot of money. For other people, it may be, hey, buying that dream house or that car or going on that destination holiday, or, growing the business, expanding the business, falling in love. These are all different goals that people have. It does not necessarily have to mean success is a lot of money. Because if my goal isn't to earn a lot of money, if money does not excite me, then if I were to set a goal to earn a lot of money, it may be really hard for me to achieve that goal because it isn't my goal. So the first step is always to understand that, hey, what are our goals? And this is why goal setting is just so important. And a lot of people ignore the fact of goal setting, because without a goal, there cannot be success. Because success simply means achieving that goal, whatever that goal is for you. And if you were to look at the definition of failure, again, if you take out a dictionary, you go to Google and you just type definition of failure. Failure now is defined as a lack of success.
Okay.
That's all it is. Failure is defined as a lack of success. In other words, failures simply mean unsuccessful attempts. That's all it is. I want to tell you, hey, you know what? You have failed. It feels really, emotionally heavy, right? But if I told you, hey, you had a successful attempt, that's a lot lighter. And you find that, hey, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
So sometimes the word that we use, right, can also trigger different intensities of emotions. But failure simply means a lack of success. That means it's an unsuccessful attempt. And if you were to look at unsuccessful attempts, my take on unsuccessful attempts is this. My take is an unsuccessful attempt simply means you are now given the opportunity to try again with a better strategy to enhance your probability of success. If we were to just accept that unsuccessful attempt simply means an opportunity to try again with a better strategy to enhance our probability of success, there will never be failures in life, just multiple opportunities to succeed. And if you were to look at life itself, we learn through unsuccessful attempts. Almost everything that we know how to do, everything that we are good at it, when we first started doing it, it was challenging. It was difficult because human beings learn through repetition and we learn through experience. Look at a child that's learning how to walk. Does the child walk right away or immediately after taking his or her first steps? Chances are no.
Yeah. Definitely.
The child is going to lose his balance, the child is going to tumble, the child is going to fall. But what does the child do? The child picks himself or herself up again and tries again. The child keeps trying no matter how many times that child falls. As adults, if we were in the vicinity and if we were to see a child that's learning how to walk fall, what we would tell that child is, hey, get up and try again. And we would assist that child. We would do it for as long as it takes until that child learns how to walk. Never will we look at that child and say, hey, I don't think walking is for you. Maybe you should walk. We would say that. But we sometimes say that to ourselves. We try something, it's unsuccessful once, twice, 3 times. We now accept it as failure and we stop trying. And that is the true difference between a child and an adult. A child has not learned to condition himself or herself to believe that failure is permanent. A child doesn't know this yet. So for the child, in the child's mind, hey, I tried, it didn't work, let me try again. Hey, I tried, it didn't work, let me try again. And unconsciously, the child is trying to get its balance right, the footing right, and all that unconsciously is happening. So the child has not learned to condition that failure is permanent.
Yeah.
Adults accept that failures are permanent. So adults accept that unsuccessful attempts equates to failure equates to permanent, I should just give up.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So if you were to ask me, that's the definition of success and failure. My definition of success is this: ensure there is growth in life. So remember, success is still about the accomplishment of an aim or purpose, right? So if you were to ask me, hey, what goals should I set? What goals should I set? I really don't know. Hey, look into your life. There are many different aspects of life. There's career, there's health, relationships, finances, and look into the different aspects of life. And you've got to really be honest with yourself. And ask yourself which area is lacking growth. That means which of this area in life has been stagnant for a while, and which area do I need to ensure there is some form of growth. You see, people often talk that, hey, you know what, if I make $1 million, I'll be happy. Sure, I've seen people who make their first $1 million. They're happy for the first year, maybe the second year. If they go on making $1 million for the next 10 years, every year make $1 million for 10 years, guess what? This guy also is unhappy.
Yeah.
Because there is no growth.
Yeah.
Compared to someone who makes $30,000 annually for this year, next year there is a 10% growth. That means instead of 30,000, now he's making 33,000. And every year, this person introduces just a 10% growth or a 20% growth. Guess what? In the next 10 years, right, this person will be very happy, because when this person looks back at life, every year there was a measure of progress. There was growth. So stagnancy is the cause of unhappiness. Yeah. So even relationships, if you look at it, people in relationships, and relationship is a great example, because relationship always starts off really high, and over time it goes down. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Less pressure.
Because a lot of things become taken for granted. The little things no longer happen, and because in the start it's always really high. There's a lot of kindness, compassion, understanding, but over time it just reduces. And that's why a lot of relationships die off as well. It's a lack of growth. So we've got to look at life and ask ourselves, hey, what aspects of our life we must introduce growth to? So then we set a goal, on what we want to achieve. It doesn't have to be the biggest earth-shattering goal in the world. It could be the little goals matter too. Hey, eating healthy, exercising, ensuring that business is growing. For those entrepreneurs out there, young entrepreneurs, always set that goal. Hey, how much do you want your business to grow this year? Whether it's revenue, or expansion. Look at these little things and set these goals, and then work towards achieving these goals. Because in my journey, I also was obsessed with discovering what the formula for success is. What is the blueprint for success? Why are some people so successful and others, not so successful? And what I discovered was this. The formula for success, right? Success, there is a pattern to success. There is a blueprint to success. There are things that highly successful people do that we can learn from. And as I started my journey into really researching and looking into highly successful people, what I realized was this: whether it's people like Steve Jobs, Richard Branson, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, if you will look at their journey, their formula for success is actually the same. And it's a formula that we can all apply, and it isn't rocket science. And it's just a 5-step formula. Step 1, you've got to set a goal. So if you look at all these highly successful people, they once had this crazy idea to achieve something. Did they know how to achieve it? They did not know how to achieve it. Did they know how to do it? They didn't know. Did they have the resources? Maybe yes, most of the times no. But what they had was this crazy goal, this crazy vision of what they wanted to achieve, and it starts with that. So step 1 is set a goal.
Yeah.
Step number 2 is now creating the plan. This is where now, hey, I have a goal. Okay, now I need a strategy to achieve that goal. Okay? So step number 2 is acquiring the strategy and creating that plan. Because you don't know how to get there, but you can always learn how to get there. You can ask someone, you can research, you can Google. There's a lot of resources out there. Okay? So step number 2 is creating a plan. Step number 3 is often the hardest step for most people, and that is executing the plan. Because it's the difference between knowing what to do and actually doing it. So step number 3 is executing the plan. Step number 4 is ensuring that you create breakthroughs and you persevere through challenges. Because like that child who's learning how to walk, then it's oftentimes when you're doing something new for the first time, it's not going to work. But we've got to persevere through the challenges that comes our way, and we've got to keep learning, having that mindset of a continuous learner to keep learning. Hey, how can we do things better? How can we change our approach? What else must we learn? What knowledge, what skills must we acquire so that we can be successful? And we've got to persevere through challenges. As dark as the night gets and as heavy as the storm hits, the sky will clear up, okay? And the sun will rise. We just have to keep on at it until we see the light at the end of the tunnel. And step number 5, okay, it's an important step as well. And this is, we must celebrate our successes. No matter how small we think that success is, we've got to celebrate successes simply because, A, we have to acknowledge that we have achieved the goal that we set out to achieve. 2, we are training our mind that, hey, this is something that we need to get excited over. Because can you imagine this? If you keep hitting your goals but you don't acknowledge your goal, then it becomes a question, hey, why am I even hitting my goals?
That's right.
So it's a habit, right? So we have to celebrate our successes. And celebration does not mean that we have to throw the biggest, grandest party in the whole wide world. A celebration could simply mean looking at ourselves in the mirror, acknowledging the fact, like giving ourselves a tap on our own shoulders and acknowledging the fact that, hey, I set out to do this and I have achieved it. Job well done. So this is honestly the 5 steps for success. That's it. It isn't rocket science. And if you were to look into every highly successful person in this world, this is their journey. This is their journey. So obviously, of course, in the last 1 or 2 years, I realized there's actually a step number 6.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Please share with us. Yeah, what's the step number 6?
And step number 6 is this. There is a difference between being successful and feeling successful. There is a big difference. This is the reason why there are a lot of people who are perceived to be successful by others, but they themselves feel miserable, depressed, and down, and they don't see themselves as success. Even though, they set out to have a $1 million empire, in terms of business or whatever their goals was, they've achieved it, but they don't see themselves as being successful. So I started looking again at the journey of people who are really successful, highly successful, and I realized this. Almost all of them who are successful and feel successful are the people who also give back
okay.
around them. So if you look at people who are highly successful, a lot of them get into philanthropy, right? Where they donate millions and millions of dollars, to make the world a better place. But the question is this: what if I don't have $1 million? How can I help others?
That's right.
And the question is this: helping others does not always have to be monetary. It's about giving back what you have, what you're good at, right, to others. So what you guys are doing is amazing because you're putting up this show and you're already giving back to the younger generations, giving them knowledge, and it doesn't cost a lot of money to give this back, but it's that fact that, hey, you are now giving something to make someone else's life better. And this is what I mean by giving back. And when we start giving back, we will feel successful.
That's right.
And the reality is this: you don't need to be successful to feel successful. When you feel successful, you will be successful.
That's awesome.
So
that's an awesome statement right there.
So these are just the simple things that I live by myself. These are the principles and the mantras that I live by, and it's also the reason why I do what I do.
Super awesome. I think really thank you for the 5+1. Now you call it 6 steps to success, right?
Now it's the 6 steps.
6 steps to success.
We've always got to give back, and that's an important step. We always have to give back.
Yeah.
If we want to feel successful, make others around us successful.
Do you call that fulfillment? Because some people...
I would say definitely. It's a sense of fulfillment. Sense of fulfillment.
So so these 6 steps, right? Like I would be thinking that it's very awesome for like people who like know these different areas in life and they know what they want, where they want to have growth in their lives. how about people like younger generations especially who are probably told or given a different kind of context? They are given a context, say, you have to get good grades in schools, then you get a good job, then a good life, and then they ended up setting goals in that aspects. And later, probably in life, you and I know that that might not be the right context, or there might be change of path. So how do you know whether you are setting the right goal at the beginning, especially for younger generations?
So I suppose you see it comes back to this. When you say young, how young are they? Are they already adults?
Probably I would say they are still in the bench of their schools. They are still studying. But probably, because for me, a lot of younger generations came to me and David and say that I was told that I need to strive at my studies, but this is really something that I don't enjoy. I don't know what's the purpose, and how do you achieve or persist to a goal that you don't even know whether the outcome is something that you want or don't want? You didn't set a goal for yourself, in other words.
But the reality is this: if you were to ask me, right, education is really important for the young generation.
Definitely.
And if we were to look at our own lives before, even when we were going to school, it was that time in life where we have to have this thing called blind faith. Because
blind
we know,
faith, okay.
Yeah, because we don't have the capacity to make decisions for ourselves yet when it comes to life. And if you want to ask me, education is an important thing. So going to school, getting that good grades, passing and all that is good because it lays the foundation. It expands the mind and gives us the knowledge that's required so that when we are adults, that means now once we are out of school, this is when we can look at our life and we got to ask ourselves, okay, what is it that I want to achieve in life now? Okay, I have all the skills and knowledge that I've acquired, and because that was a phase in life where I have to acquire it, while that I've acquired all this knowledge, now I'm looking at my life and I want to go forward, and I've got to ask myself, hey, okay, what is it that I want to achieve in life? Now it's no longer about what I've been told to do. I've already done all that. I've acquired all that. I've everything that I need. Now I've got to ask myself, what is it that I want to do? Can this knowledge, skills help me in what I want to achieve, or do I need to go out and acquire a new set of knowledge? We talk about school, and we know for a fact in school no one teaches us about entrepreneurship.
Yeah, about life.
Right. So once we're adults, and let's say I'm talking about maybe the age of 18, 19, or maybe even 20, 21, this is when we've got to ask ourselves, okay, so I've got X amount of knowledge and skills, but now what else do I need to acquire? Okay, so maybe I have a passion in starting my own business. Do I know how to run my business? Do I have the knowledge for finances, operations, expansion business, whatever? So if I don't have it, hey, now I've got to go out and I've got to seek this knowledge to complement what I already have. People often feel that, hey, you know what, the first 20 years of my life was a waste of time because I learned the stuff that I'm not using in life. Hey, I learned algebra in school. I don't use algebra in life.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that that journey of learning algebra was a complete, because learning algebra, whether I realize it or not, has opened up different parts of my mind.
100% agree. Yeah.
A certain way now because of the fact that I was solving algebra puzzles in school, and because of that, maybe I'm more of a solution finder now. Yeah. So we don't know how this or what parts of the mind that education opens up, but it is important to go through that journey. But once we are adults, now is when we've got to make decisions on, hey, what skills do I need to acquire for me to achieve the goals that I want? So remember, what must I do next?
Yeah. So there's a transition period that you believe that there's the next phase where you can start applying the 6 steps to success, which is to set your own goals and start to pursue whatever is defined success to you. But before that, you have to have blind faith. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So of course, when you're in school, obviously your measure of success is going to be the grades that you get.
That's right.
Okay, which means you can still apply the 6 steps.
Yeah,
even
in that sense, right?
Yeah,
in that aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can apply the 6 steps because you can also start applying step 6 because you may be good at something which you can someone else. and someone else may be good at something which they can teach you, and this becomes a sustainable ecosystem.
Yep. And you start feeling successful right away before you even actually become successful, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
in fact, the way that you actually define success, where success is actually not like a goal at the end of the life, but a progress. If the students nowadays, they actually know the fact and they're actually applying this concept, they won't actually get into depression, because everything is about progression in whatever the grades that they're getting into.
Success is growth. Success is progress. And that's a fact. Success is not a destination. Success is a journey.
Exactly, man.
That's right. That's right.
I love when you say that. Like progress. It's like a lake that is stagnant, where you don't flow anywhere. It's like, even no matter how big you are or how successful it seems to be, if you stay stagnant, then your life just like becomes life sucks, when like the one you mentioned earlier in your life. That's actually life sucks, right? Yeah.
So hey, there's always an upside, but there are times where we have to go through challenges, trials, tribulations. What we need to understand is that it is not the end of the world. No matter how dark, how bleak it may seem, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And we've just got to keep ensuring growth, progress, asking the right questions, adopting the right mindset, being that continuous learner to acquire the knowledge, the skills that we need in order to move forward. So that's the thing, and that's why I love reading. And if there's one thing that I like to share, a must do for young audiences, whether it's young, old, anyone actually in life, right? If there's one thing that I want to share, is this: make a habit of picking up a book and reading every day.
That's right.
Awesome. Thank you so much for saying that.
Book, hey, there's fiction, there's non-fiction, right? I think fiction books are good for entertainment, but pick up a book that's going to teach you something. Leadership. Students in schools, I think it's never too young to learn about leadership, because at the end of the day, we are all leaders, because when not we have a team to lead, we have to lead the most important person in our life, which is ourselves.
Yeah, that's right.
Because of that, we need to have the ability and the skills and the knowledge to effectively lead ourselves. So hey, it's never too young to pick up a leadership book. John C. Maxwell has a lot of good leadership books. Pick one up. My personal favorite is 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Pick that up, read that book, make it a habit every day. Spend some time to read a book. Start small if you're not much of a reader. When I first started reading books, it was just like 15 minutes a day. I can't read in the past. And whenever friends would tell me, hey, Jit, read this book, my answer would always be, if it's a good book, I'm sure they'll make a movie out of it. I'll just go and watch the movie.
That makes sense.
That was me before. So when I first started, I set aside time every day from 10 to 10:15, 10:20, I would just sit down and read. And it's not about completing a chapter, 2 chapters, or the whole book in that time. It's about just sitting and getting into the habit of reading. And over time, that time increases, because hey, now you start enjoying it, you start getting better at it, you absorb more, and before I realized it was half an hour a day, 40 minutes a day, an hour a day, and it becomes easy. So that's my one tip that I feel it's absolutely important. Keep acquiring knowledge through books. And if reading really isn't your thing, hey, go and watch a video on YouTube, TED Talks, ideas of inspiration. There's a lot of great content out there. Audiobooks, if watching YouTube isn't your thing, hey, download an audiobook. There's a lot of great audiobooks out there. And listen to an audiobook on your way to work, on your way to school, on your way back, to appointments. Just put it on and just listen to it.
That's right. We really appreciate whatever you have shared just now, because we actually tried to actually convey the message to our young audience previously before as well. But whatever you have conveyed that is so direct, that really literally helped you in your journey of your life, bringing you to where you are right now, is really impressive. But just on behalf of our audience, right, our young audience, If let's say after this interview, they would like to get to know about your work or your book, just to know more about you, where should they actually go to look for you?
Okay, so there's a couple of places you can go. One, of course, you can go to my website, and it's www.jitpuru.com, JITPURU.com, and everything about what I do is there. There's videos. You can even go to YouTube, and if you search for my name again, JITPURU, there's a lot of videos on my YouTube channel. So, I mean, they can always follow me. They can subscribe to my channel. Time to time, I put videos up there. There is another platform called Ideas and Inspiration. They can Google that. The website is www.thoughtprovokingtalks.com. So, Ideas and Inspiration is an initiative that I started July of last year. Once every quarter, I put 5 thought leaders, people with a great message, great idea to share on stage. And we get about 200 people, 200 plus people in the audience who come after work to listen to these talks. Talks are all 15 minutes or less, bite-sized, great, inspiring ideas. And it's a totally free event. No one pays to be there, no one pays to speak, and it's just a great platform to bring people together to receive and acquire knowledge. So all these talks are also recorded, and they are on a YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel is Ideas and Inspiration. So if you go to Ideas and Inspiration, you will find, up to now, I think there should be 15 videos up already. In about 2 weeks, our 4th session is coming up. So after that, another 5 talks will be up as well. So these are 2 great platforms where people can find me. Hey, I'm on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. So, you can just Google and I'll pop up somewhere.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So all of us, let's connect to Jit Puru. Such an awesome speaker. Thank you so much for being together with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Just before release you, there's one question. Yeah, I mean, just before we let you go, there's one question that we like to ask all our guests on this show, which is this: what would a winning life looks like for Jit Puru? What will a winning life looks like for you yourself?
Winning life for me would be really simple. It would be me going around the world, sharing what I know to help other people, and I don't have to charge anyone anything.
Okay. Oh, wow.
If I can go all over the world to share what I have for absolutely free, that would be a winning life for me.
Awesome. And now we can see that you're starting to do that already.
Yeah.
Super inspiring, figure, and you have helped me personally a lot. So we truly appreciate your presence in this show.
That's right.
So thank you so much for joining us today. That's all for now. So we'll see you very, very soon. Talk soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
Appreciate it. Yeah, man. You too.
Oh my God, it was so awesome. I'm telling you that, the formulas to success is so applicable to young people like you and us as well. So isn't it awesome with Jit Puru?
Yeah, definitely. And we really appreciate and thank you for joining us in this Let's Learn show. Now remember this, you're gonna get the show notes and also the links in our description. Just remember to follow Jit Puru's work in www.jitpuru.com, and also look for Ideas and Inspiration in Facebook, YouTube, and other social medias. You're gonna find Jit Puru very easily.
That's right. And besides, very, very important, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Class After School, and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss a single video from us and you don't want to. Last but not least, remember, you can win in life.